Week 5 of the college football season brought the mega matchup. 3, in fact, involving unbeaten teams playing each other. And as the dust settled, the pecking order was shaken up. New teams are in, some have moved around, but there's no surprise at the very top. So here's our latest Sports2Nite NCAA football power rankings. At number 10, Washington. The Huskies moved back into the poll after a dominant win over a ranked BYU team. The Huskies have been on a tear since their Week 1 loss against Auburn, outscoring opponents by a 128-37 margin in the last 4 games. Number 9, Auburn. The Tigers have that win over Washington, but fell out of our rankings after their loss to LSU. Teams losing in front of them, enough to get Auburn back into the poll, but it was a closer than expected win on Saturday against Southern Miss. Now, Auburn should have no issue until a backloaded slate in November that features road games at Georgia and at Alabama. Number 8, LSU. It was a great Saturday for Ohio State quarterbacks, current or former. Joe Burrow passed for 292 yards and 3 touchdowns. He tacked on another on the ground as the Tigers stomped Ole Miss. And a tough test looms, though, with 3 of the next 4 opponents ranked in the AP Top 25. To number 7, Notre Dame. Questions about the easy schedule for the Irish were definitely put aside after a thoroughly convincing win over previously unbeaten Stanford. The move to quarterback Ian Book has awoken the Notre Dame offense. Book threw for 325 yards and had 5 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, and then threw for 4 more against Stanford. Could say the Irish are booked at everyone. No more of those puns. To number 6, West Virginia. At this point in the season, it's hard to know who will win the Heisman, but it's definitely going to be a quarterback. Will Greer threw for 370 yards and 3 touchdown passes, all in the first half against Texas Tech, as the Mountaineers picked up a big conference road win to improve 2-0 in the Big 12. Number 5, Clemson. Despite a win, the Tigers dropped this week for a couple of reasons. They nearly lost to a Syracuse team that upset them a year ago. Definitely should have lost, especially after Trevor Lawrence was knocked out of the game early in the first half. At number 4, Oklahoma. The Sooners set the stage for a highly anticipated Red River rivalry after pasting Baylor 66-33 on Saturday. Kyler Murray threw for 432 yards and 6 touchdowns. He also rushed for 45 yards and a touchdown. After it was all said and done, Oklahoma had 607 yards of total offense. How about the stats for Murray this year? 1,460 yards passing and just 17 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. Up to number 3, Georgia. The Bulldogs have almost quietly gone about their business as the defending national runner-up. Georgia took down rival Tennessee 38-12 behind a strong defensive showing. The Vols had only 66 yards rushing and just 209 total yards of offense. The Bulldogs rushed for more yards, 251, than Tennessee had as an entire team. Georgia's averaging over 43 points per game, heading into an October that features 3 games against ranked opponents. Number 2, Ohio State. The Buckeyes looked like one of the best teams in the country and put together a comeback fitting of a title contender in their win at Penn State. Ohio State fell behind 13-0, but didn't get rattled in a hostile environment with over 110,000 fans. Dwayne Haskins led scoring drives of 75 and 96 yards in the fourth quarter as the Buckeyes turned a 26-14 deficit into a 27-26 lead and then the win. Haskins finished with 270 yards and 3 touchdowns. And number 1, Alabama. No surprise again at the top of the poll after the Crimson Tide poured it on against outmatched ULL. The Tide scored 3 touchdowns in the first 7 minutes, led 56-0 in the third quarter, and then, allowed a couple of garbage time touchdowns. And the schedule remains pretty easy until November. And those are the latest Sports2Nite NCAA football power rankings. Tonight's NCAA football power rankings are brought to you by IHOP. Eat up every moment.